Hey, what's going on everyone? My name is Aaron and I run a franchise with College Pro Window Cleaning. I've been doing it since 2015 and today I want to talk to you guys about booking in previous clients. So window cleaning, it's naturally an annual or semi-annual service, which means we do a lot of repeat work year after year. Now, I don't really have my business super automated yet where customers are booked in year after year already. So I actually have to hire my managers and train them on how to call our previous clients. So I give them a list of customers, range about jobs we did last year to jobs we might have done 5 years ago or so, and I have them trained on how to call these clients and book in a lot of work and increase our sales. So today I want to tell you about my structure for making these calls and hopefully give you guys some help with booking in more of your previous clients. First things first is the introduction to the call. So an introduction to the sales call for previous clients is pretty simple. The best thing I like to think about it is when you're knocking on someone's door for the first time or you're calling them for the first time, it's always good to answer 2 questions right away, which is who you are, what do you want? So for me, when I call someone over the phone, I just want to answer those questions right away. So, hey, how's it going? Is this John? And then the customer says, yeah, it's John. He's like, hey, John, it's Aaron calling from College Pro Window Cleaning. We were the students that cleaned the windows for you last summer. Do you remember us? I always like to end with a little bit of a question. That way they can, they know what to respond with. It's either yes or no. It's very simple. Most of the time they would remember. It's always good to give them that reminder though, because sometimes clients forget. So it's like, we were the students that cleaned the windows for you last summer, or the last 3 summers, or the summer two summers ago, or gave you a quote last summer. I like to find out what exactly we did for them last year or the year before to remind them. Okay, so once you have that done, they go, yeah, I remember you. Awesome, great. We want to answer the question, what do you want? Right now that we answer who are you? What do you want? For me is always going, I was just calling to see if you're interested in getting the work done again this summer. Now for me, that's another yes or no kind of question. You either are interested or you're not interested. I'm not asking for booking them in right away. I sometimes call them, I usually start calling like February. So a lot of clients, calling them February for May is like, what? But yeah, I just like to ask when they're interested, right? So most people say yes, sometimes they say no, and the other time they say call me back. So those are the 3 general options is yes, no, or call me back. And so how I process each of those answers is different. So yes is obviously super easy. Awesome, great. I usually like to jump into when they did it last year. So it looks like last summer we did around May. Is that usually when they like to get it done? Right, ending with another question answer. So it's yes or no. And they go, yep, or no, I want it done in June. I'm going on vacation, whatever it is. I go, yeah, sure, no problem. Are there any specific days of the week that work best for your schedule? Another really good question where it's now getting from general, like is this usually around the time you like to get it done, to what days of the week work best for you, right? I'm just trying to find their preferences to book them in. Now, I'm not necessarily going to go in, 6 months ahead or 4 months ahead and look in does May 1st, 10 o'clock work for you? Over the phone, it just takes too long and I'm looking over my schedule. So I like to get their preferences first and they go, yeah, that works for me. Or Monday don't work for me, or Fridays work better for me, whatever it is. I go, okay, great. Now that I have that information, let me just confirm your contact information. Is this the best phone to reach at? Is this the best email to send the quote to? They go, yep. Or they give me a new email, whatever it is. And then I go, awesome. I'm going to find you a time in my schedule that works for you based on what you told me today. And I'm going to send you an email with all the information. And a week before the job starts, we'll also send you another email and text message notification letting you know that we're coming. And if we need to move it by then, we can definitely move it. Just let me know if the date doesn't work. Does that sound good? Great. Awesome. Book the call. And then when the phone's done, then you can start doing all the admin work, getting all the clients, putting all the information where you need to, do the quote, send it to them, book them in. That's a yes. That's super easy. That's like the easiest one. If they say yes to all that, perfect. Some clients are going to say no. So when clients say no, what do you say? Well, what I tell my managers is to act surprised, right? Most, like 90% of our clients get their work done at least once a year, sometimes twice. And so if they don't do it once a year, it's like, what? Are you kind of act a little bit surprised, shocked, right? It's not out of the normal. So I ask them why. Oh, do you mind if I ask why not? And then they might tell you that way. Maybe they're moving, or maybe, they have a bunch of commitments, construction, maybe their neighbor's getting their house, new stones put on the patio, and so it's all dusty. Whatever it is, you can kind of handle that objection as they come. But you just really want to ask why, because you can actually turn a lot of no's around. Sometimes people's knee-jerk reaction is no. But if they don't give you anything, the next question I like to ask is, was everything okay with the job last year? That's a good one, because sometimes managers and customers, you might have a bad job experience. We clean hundreds of jobs, each one of managers a year. And so 1 or 2 here and there are definitely going to be a poor job. And so you want to make sure that you can handle that. And so if they say, yep, something happened last year, the windows weren't done the way I wanted to. If that happens, which sometimes does, you just want to let them vent. So when a client says no and they say it was because the job was done poorly last year, ask them what happened, be curious, right? Like, oh, do you mind if I ask what happened? And then write it down, make notes, right? You want to make sure that you obviously, if you ever do the job again, you're never going to make these same mistakes that that past manager has. And let them vent. You know, if you think about it, right? Maybe they had streaky windows and they're really upset about that. They went all year with like streaky, gross windows and like had no one to like really like, you know, let out their steam to. And so the first person that calls them and go, hey, it's College Pro, they're probably like, oh, this is the person I want to vent to, right? So let them vent, be there to understand, you know, you're so sorry for their experience, that sounds awful, validate their feelings, right? And then once people do that, generally they're a little bit more perceptive to you, trying to work them back in as a loyal client. So always trying to remind them you're a new manager of the year. You know, if the way you run your business, you have a policy. You know, I actually don't walk away from the job site and get paid until you walk around with me. We take a look at all the windows, make sure you're 100% satisfied. That kind of stuff like there, personal guarantees, those can really work people back. And if you can't get them back on the phone call, that's okay. I would make a note of that. And next time you're doing work on that street, just try to knock on the door, just apologize again in person and see if there's anything you do. Sometimes over the phone is hard, but no's generally, they're either probably something with the past job, maybe it's price related, different kind of objections. So you still want to work those out the best you can. Now, the worst, I shouldn't say worst, but like the most common and the hardest to deal with for my managers is callbacks. So if someone says, if I ask them, you know, are you interested in getting the work done again this year? And they go, maybe call me back. That can actually be a lot of different things. And so at the end of the day though, the purpose of PC calling, like previous customer calling, I should say, is to get to a yes or a no answer as much as you can. Because you can deal with no's if they just don't want to do it, whatever, they're moving, they, you know, price, whatever it is, fine. Yeses, great, book them in. But this middle ground callbacks is really tough because if you have to call someone back, you have to spend more of your time calling them. And that it's really hard to get a hold of some people sometimes. And so if you have a hold of them, they say call you back, we really want to try to see if they're a yes or a no first, because call back could be either one. And so the best question to ask a client that asks you to call them back is the if or when statement. So College Pro taught me this back in the day and it works beautifully, still use it to this day. And it's a hard statement to pull off, but if you can nail it, you'll have a lot less callbacks, you'll book a lot more jobs. And just want to tell you again, for the purpose of why you don't want to call someone back, one, it takes up too much of your time, but two, if you have a list of 100 clients and you burn through 80% of them, and all of a sudden, call me back April, call me back April, call me back April, and you're in February, you're like, man, I can't call any of these people now until April. So what are you going to be doing, right? So part of the work is to call and book jobs. And so if they say call me back and you go, yeah, sure, I'll call you back, you might not have a lot of customers to call from again, right? So you want to book them in when you can, and if they say no, you want to get them to say no as well, so you don't have to call them again, right? The statement, the if or when statement, goes like this: sure, no problem, I can definitely call you back. Just so I know, are you just not sure if you want to get the job done at all this year, or are you just not sure when you'd like to get it done? Really emphasizing, like, are you just not sure if you want to get the work done this year, or are you just not sure when you'd like to get it done? Because those mean two different things. So if is actually possibly a no. That's an objection, the things that we discussed before. If it's a when, then it actually is a yes. They're saying, yeah, I want the work done, I just don't know when. It's, 3 months out of advance, it's February, snow's on the ground still, you're calling me about a job that's in June. So I would validate that. I go, oh, if it's a when, I would go, oh, it sounds like you do want to get the work done by us again this year. You're just not sure about your schedule this far in advance, is that right? They go, yes. I go, great. That's actually why I'm calling super early, is I just want to make sure I give my previous clients a prioritized booking slot within my schedule. We're just setting up tentative dates, just saving spots for general times in the area for when we think might work for you. And then what I'll do is I'll actually follow up with you a few weeks before to confirm the date. And if we have to move it around then, it'll be a lot easier for me. It's a lot harder to fit you into a schedule without a spot saved, but if you have a spot saved already, we can move you around easier. Then you can turn a call back to a yes pretty quickly by offering that, saving them a spot. If they're if, then that's kind of a no, and so you can go into the objection handling. Just ask, was the job done okay last year? Is the price okay? That kind of stuff. So the if or when statement, if used correctly, can really separate, the good calling managers from the great. So if you can really nail the if or when statement, you can start getting clients into either the yes or no bucket quicker. You don't have to call back as many people, which means you have more time for running your other parts of your business. But anyways, yeah, it's a really cool process. That's my flow chart, my strategy, my structure to get a client booked in. Hope that wasn't super confusing. If you have any questions, just leave them below, and I'll probably make a follow-up video about some other tactics or objection handling about previous customer calling. Anyways, thanks so much. Have a great day.